Ambassador Chen stood before the Galactic Council, her hands clasped behind her back, her expression carefully neutral. The holographic chamber stretched endlessly around her, filled with the representatives of 200 starfaring civilizations. Above her, the Vraxian High Commander's image flickered with what she had learned to recognize as contempt. "Your species amuses us, human," the commander hissed through his translator. "You speak of peace treaties, of negotiated settlements, of compromise. Such weakness. The Vraxian Empire does not negotiate with prey." Laughter rippled through the council chamber. The insectoid creche clicked their mandibles in what passed for amusement among their kind. Even the normally stoic crystalline collective pulsed with colors that their database indicated meant mockery. Chen had expected this. Humanity had joined the galactic community only 30 years ago, and in that time they had earned a reputation. Not for their military might, they were newcomers after all. Not for their technology, they were still catching up. No, humanity had become known for something the galaxy considered far more pathetic: their endless attempts at diplomacy. Every conflict humans tried to mediate. Every border dispute they offered compromises. Every trade disagreement they suggested arbitration. The other species had begun calling them the peacemakers, with the same tone one might use for the fools. "Commander," Chen said quietly, "we understand your position. However, we believe there is still room for—" "Silence!" The Vraxian's display flared red. "My fleet has already begun its approach to your colony worlds. In 72 hours we will demonstrate what happens to species who mistake weakness for virtue. Your diplomatic missions are hereby expelled from Vraxian space. Consider this your final warning." The connection severed. The council chamber erupted in a cacophony of alien voices, most expressing satisfaction that humanity would finally learn their place in the galactic order. Chen closed her eyes for just a moment. Then she opened her communicator. "Protocol Omega," she said simply. "Authorization Chen Alpha 77. The response came immediately from Earth. "Confirmed. Protocols engaged." The galaxy had made a fundamental error in its assessment of humanity. They had seen the diplomats, the peace envoys, the endless negotiation attempts, and assumed this was all humanity had to offer. They had never stopped to ask a simple question: why does a species become so dedicated to peace? The answer was one humanity had learned through rivers of blood across 10,000 years of their history. They pursued peace with such desperate fervor because they knew, better than any species in the galaxy, the true cost of war. And more importantly, they knew they were terrifyingly good at it. Earth's military networks, dormant for decades, blazed to life. The lunar shipyards, which the galaxy believed produced only cargo vessels and colony ships, opened their hidden bays. Humanity had not been building a merchant fleet for 30 years. They had been preparing for the day when talking would no longer be enough. Admiral Kowalski watched the tactical display from the bridge of the UNSS Terrible Swift Sword, the flagship of a fleet that officially didn't exist. Around him, 300 warships materialized from stealth as their drives powered up. Each one carried technology the humans had carefully kept secret, weapons derived not from alien science but from their own brutal history. "All ships report ready, Admiral," his tactical officer announced. Kowalski nodded. "Broadcast the message." Across every communications channel in Vraxian space, Ambassador Chen's voice rang out, no longer gentle, no longer conciliatory. "This is Ambassador Chen of the United Nations of Earth, speaking to the Vraxian Empire and to the Galactic Council. For 30 years we have pursued peace. We have negotiated, compromised, and absorbed insults because we understand something you do not. War is not glorious. It is not honorable. It is horror incarnate. We tried to spare you from learning this lesson." On the tactical display, the Vraxian fleet, the pride of an empire that had conquered 17 species, advanced toward human colonies with absolute confidence. "You mistook our preference for peace as inability to wage war," Chen continued. "You will now understand why we tried so hard to avoid this outcome. Not for our sake, for yours." The human fleet dropped out of hyperspace. The Battle of Proxima Reach lasted 4 hours. The Vraxian fleet, which had never known defeat, ceased to exist. Human warships didn't just outgun their opponents, they outthought them. Centuries of human warfare, from ancient naval tactics to modern asymmetric combat doctrine, had been distilled and perfected. While other species fought with honor and tradition, humans fought to win, Railguns firing at relativistic speeds, drone swarms that learned and adapted in real time, electronic warfare that turned enemy ships into coffins, tactics that were simultaneously 1,000 years old and devastatingly new. The Vraxian High Commander broadcast his surrender from his crippled flagship, his voice trembling. "We yield. Please, we surrender." Admiral Kowalski's response was immediate. "Surrender accepted. All Vraxian vessels power down weapons and prepare to be escorted back to your territory. Medical ships are en route to provide aid." In the council chambers, the assembled species watched in stunned silence as human ships that should not have existed performed maneuvers that should not have been possible, then immediately offered humanitarian assistance to their defeated enemy. Ambassador Chen appeared before them once more, her expression tired. "Let me be clear," she said. "We do not want to be warriors. We do not glory in victory. We offer this demonstration not as a threat but as a promise. We will always prefer peace. We will always negotiate first. But if you mistake kindness for weakness, if you force our hand, we will remind you why our species spent thousands of years perfecting the art of war before we learned to pursue peace." She paused, letting her words sink in. "The Vraxian Empire's surrender has been accepted. Their worlds will remain sovereign. We will even assist with their reconstruction. And then, if they are willing, we will teach them what we have learned, that the strong do not need to prove their strength, and that true power lies not in the ability to destroy, but in choosing not to." The council chamber remained silent. "We are still the peacemakers," Chen finished. "We just wanted to ensure you understood. That is a choice we make, every single day." The human fleet returned to the shadows, its ships disappearing as mysteriously as they had appeared. The galaxy would remember this day not for the display of human military might, but for the mercy that followed it, and they would never mock human diplomacy again.